I married a man to survive. Because where I'm from, being gay was never an option. So I played the part wife, mother, good Christian woman. But secrets don't stay buried forever. And the night my wife found out. Yes, wife, the life I built to stay safe came crashing down. And for the first time, I had to choose. Lie and stay loved. Or tell the truth and set myself free. I met Rachel at a women's conference in Atlanta. We shared a cab to the airport, sat in silence most of the way, until she offered me gum and smiled like we'd known each other forever. I wore a wedding ring. She noticed. I told her I was married. She nodded and said, "So am I." We didn't talk about our husbands. By the time we reached the airport, we'd exchanged numbers. A week later, I was texting her under the covers while my husband snored beside me. It started small. Memes. Quotes. Conversations about podcasts. Then it shifted. To voice notes that made my heart race. To late-night calls that ended with both of us staring at the ceiling, breathless. She lived in Chicago. I lived in Jackson, Mississippi. It felt safe, distant, controlled. But then she asked to see me again. And I said yes. My husband, David, thought I was traveling for a weekend women's retreat. Packed my Bible, my flat iron, the same cross necklace I'd worn since high school. I met Rachel at a downtown hotel. When she opened the door, she looked nervous. Her hands were trembling. So were mine. We didn't touch at first. Just stood there, absorbing the weight of it. 2 women. 2 rings. 2 secrets. Then she stepped forward and cupped my face. And I let her. Her lips on mine felt like a door unlocking. Like the first inhale after holding your breath for years. The truth is, I always knew I was gay. I knew when I was 11 and got butterflies watching that girl at church braid her hair. I knew when I dated boys in high school and never felt a thing. I knew on my wedding night when David kissed me and my skin went cold. But knowing and living it are 2 very different things. My mother raised me in a church where women were expected to marry, submit, and smile. My father once said, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, like it was scripture. So I obeyed. I met David at a ministry event. He was sweet, stable, and obsessed with making me happy. I figured love could grow. Or at least, that it wouldn't matter if it didn't. We married in a Baptist church packed with lace and judgment. I wore white. I cried. Not out of joy, but out of grief for the girl I had to bury inside me. Rachel was the first person who saw that girl and didn't flinch. She never rushed me. Never pushed. She just held space. We'd meet once a month, always in different cities, always for the same reason, to feel like ourselves, even for 48 hours. I told myself it wasn't real, that I wasn't cheating, that what I had with Rachel was emotional, spiritual, but not physical enough to count. But it did count. Because every kiss, every whispered, "I miss you," every goodbye that felt like tearing skin, was real. One night, after almost a year of secrets, Rachel asked, "Do you ever think about leaving?" I looked down at my hands. At the wedding ring I couldn't take off, even when I wanted to. "I think about it every day," I said. "And then I think about my son, my parents, the church, the fallout." She nodded. Same. That silence between us, it was thick with resignation. We both knew what we wanted. We just didn't know how to survive it. The truth came out the way most ugly truths do, accidentally. I was in the shower when David picked up my phone to check the time. 1 missed call from Rachel James. He opened the message thread. Dozens of "I love yous." Photos from our trips. A video of Rachel singing to me in a hotel bed. When I came out, towel wrapped around me, his face was white. "Who is she?" he asked. I froze. I didn't try to lie. I just said it. "She's my wife." David didn't yell. He sat down, head in his hands, and whispered, "I knew something was wrong. I just thought it was me." I knelt beside him. "It was never about you. You've been good to me." "Then why?" he asked. And I said the words I'd never dared speak aloud. "Because I'm not straight. I never was." He looked at me like I was a stranger. "You should have told me." I was afraid. He stood up. "Of what? Me? The truth?" "No," I said, voice cracking. "Of losing everything." We separated 2 weeks later. He moved into his brother's house. I stayed in our home with our son, Elijah, who was too young to understand why his dad suddenly stopped sleeping in the same bed as Mommy. My mother called. She'd heard through someone at church. "I don't even know who you are anymore," she said. Then hung up. The pastor called too. Asked if I'd still be leading Bible study. When I said no, he said he'd pray for my healing. The isolation was instant and suffocating. Only one person didn't flinch, Rachel. We didn't run into each other's arms. We took a breath. We gave each other space. We unpacked the wreckage we'd caused and the pain we both carried. But slowly, with gentleness and patience, we began again. This time not in secret, not in hotels, but in sunlight. We walked through parks holding hands. We introduced each other to friends who didn't flinch. We kissed in daylight. And it didn't feel like sin. Freedom hurt at first. Losing family, community, a reputation I'd spent years crafting. But every day I woke up in my new apartment with Rachel's toothbrush beside mine. I felt something bloom. Not excitement. Not even happiness right away. But peace. The kind that doesn't come from being praised, but from being known. My son is older now. He knows. He's kind. He once asked, "Did you love Dad?" I said yes, but not the way you're supposed to love your partner. He nodded. "Do you love Rachel?" I smiled. "With my whole heart." He said, "Then I think you did the right thing." I married a man to survive. But surviving isn't the same as living. It took everything falling apart for me to finally feel whole. And if I had to choose between being accepted and being free, I'd choose freedom every time.